I usually don't start an eyeshadow palette declutter out showing my face and talking to you guys. I usually just am at my desk showing nothing but the eyeshadow palettes and my hands. But I just wanted to come on before I start this and let you guys know that I hopefully I haven't filmed it yet, but I'm hopefully going to be pretty ruthless with this eyeshadow palette declutter. First of all, I'm at a point in my life where I just am sick of having too much stuff. I don't need 100 eyeshadow palettes. I don't need 14 million sweaters that I'm not going to wear. I don't need 50 pairs of shoes that just sit in my closet that I'm not wearing. You know what I mean? I am a stay-at-home mom. If you do not know who I am, hi. If you're discovering me from this eyeshadow palette declutter, thank you so much for clicking on this and checking me out. I really appreciate you. I hope you check out a couple other videos on my channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it really helps me out. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I am a stay-at-home mom, and I have been for almost 2 years at this point. My daughter will be 2 in March. And subtracting filming for YouTube, I probably do my makeup 2, maybe 3 times a month, if I'm lucky. Before I was a stay-at-home mom, I taught for 5 years, and then I worked at a bank. So I was doing my makeup every single solitary day when I had those jobs. So I felt a little bit better about having a larger makeup collection because I was using it all of the time. And now I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't have the reason to do my makeup very often anymore. And I want to be really realistic with myself about what makeup, and especially eyeshadow palettes like today, that's what we're focusing on, what I'm actually using / going to use. Instead of focusing on keeping eyeshadow palettes that I might possibly want to use one day, or I might possibly want that one shade in that one palette, so I don't want to get rid of it. That's just kind of silly to me. I'm feeling like this in a lot of aspects of my life right now. Like I'm really trying to declutter my clothes, my shoes, because those clothes and shoes and makeup products that I was using while I taught for 5 years and then worked at a bank, I needed dressier, nicer clothes. I didn't need more makeup, but I was using it more, and now I just don't need that stuff. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have been for 2 years, and I don't foresee that changing. Like I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom until my daughter Ivy goes to kindergarten in 3-4 years at this point. And we haven't decided if we're going to have a second child or not, but if we do, then I'll be a stay-at-home mom for that child too. So I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom for the next 3 to 8-ish years of my life. So I have to just be really realistic. And also I found a really great nonprofit to start donating to. It's called Dear Dinah. It is based out of Dayton, Ohio, and they take in women who have escaped sex trafficking. So they give them shelter, they give them food, clothes, like anything that they need. So I feel better about decluttering this makeup and skincare products. I've already donated a whole box of makeup and skincare to them once, and I have a box back here, if you can see, that I've been filling up the last couple months with more makeup and skincare. And this time around, I'm going to also be donating clothes and shoes to them. So I feel like because I have a good cause to donate to, I'm also going to be more okay with letting some things go that I might possibly want to keep. You know what I mean? Hopefully I am ruthless with this eyeshadow palette declutter and I get rid of things that I'm just truly not using. If you're noticing, I do have 2 different eyeshadow looks on my eyes. I did go ahead and try out the Natasha Denona Biba palette. That video should be up first, so I will link it if you are curious how I got these looks. Just shameless self-promotion to another video, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this eyeshadow palette declutter and see how many I actually get rid of. Because in my mind, I'm like going into this with the mindset that I am going to be strong and confident and I'm just going to get rid of everything that I don't use, but I know myself. I know I'm going to open up these eyeshadow palettes that are stored in this little thing right here, and I'm going to look at them and I'm going to be like, that is so dang beautiful. I want to keep you. I'm going to use you. But I know that I won't. My preferences have changed. I don't wear colorful eyeshadow anymore. I don't wear like super intense shimmers anymore. This is about as bold as I go with eyeshadow looks. And usually I'm not going this intense when I'm doing my makeup for like our everyday plans, like date nights, hanging out with friends. I'm doing a lot simpler, easier makeup these days. So enough babbling. Hopefully you're still here. Hopefully you're excited. Let's declutter some eyeshadow palettes and give it to women in need that are going to actually use them and want them, and help them feel more confident when they have to do a job interview or go into court and testify. So let's go. I can already tell just by pulling these all out and putting them on this table here that this is going to be harder than I thought, because I'm pulling out these palettes and I'm thinking, oh man, there is a lot of these that I like. Here's the thing, I can like something and not need to keep it. Do you know what I mean? If I am not using it, I really need to be, like I said in the intro, realistic with myself about what I'm actually going to use. Also, before we get started, my nails are busted and crusted. Like they are just terrible. My hands this winter has been really rough on my skin. So please ignore that when you're looking at my nails. They are disgustingly ugly. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not really going in any particular order. I tried to group them together, like brands together, as I was pulling them out, but it kind of got messed up, so I'm just gonna grab and go. So the first one being the Colourpop's Going Coconuts palette. I actually really love this palette. It's a neutral tone. It's the shades I'm going to actually use and reach for, so I am going to keep this. I'm also going to keep the That's Taupe palette. These are two of my favorites. They are just good, neutral, solid palettes that you can reach for and know that you're going to love your look and not struggle. So I am going to keep both of those. I'm going to go ahead and declutter the Colourpop in the Limelight palette though. This is just a really colorful, obviously green palette. It's beautiful. It's stunning. The couple of times I've used it, I've liked it, but I'm not reaching for these green tones anymore. And even on like a special occasion, I can't see myself reaching for lime green eyeshadow. So it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it, but I am going to declutter this one. Then we have three here from What's Up Beauty. I want to do a full face of What's Up Beauty coming up here soon. They have sent me some more PR in the mail, and I have like bronzers and blushes and stuff to try from them. So I don't know what to do with these palettes. I've already used the Geodes palette on a video in the past, and I really liked it, but I don't think I've reached for it since then. So I think I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one, which leaves this Dragon Eye palette as well as this Desert Monsoon palette. Both of them are really colorful and pretty, and I liked the formulation of the Geodes palette when I tried it. Both of these color stories are just not my jam. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and keep the Monsoon palette. It just has a couple more neutrals that I think I'm going to reach for, even though it has that pop of purple and blue right there, and even the greens. I think I will reach for this palette more often than the Dragon palette. So I'm going to donate both the Geodes and the Dragon to keep the Monsoon. Then we have the Colourpop Star Wars Mandalorian, the Child palette, I believe. So if I am going to reach for colorful eyeshadow, it will be this tone of green. And I do like that it has the neutral side over here. However, I talked about liking those things about this palette in my last eyeshadow palette declutter, and I have reached for this no times since that last eyeshadow palette declutter a year ago. So I think I'm going to donate this one as well. As pretty as it is, I'm just not using it. I know this seems silly to keep the Honey palette because it's so colorful and yellow, but I actually thought I decluttered this, and then when I saw that I didn't, I was really excited and happy about it. So I feel like that is a sign to me that I should keep this. I know it's not going to be one I reach for very often, but I don't know. There's just something about it that I can't get rid of. I know I'm trying to be ruthless with myself. You guys are probably screaming like, Emily, don't do it, but I do think I'm going to keep this. But I'm going to go ahead and declutter the All Amethyst palette. It's really pretty, but I kind of struggled the couple times I used it, and I'm just not going to reach for these purple tones. All right, BH Cosmetics is really hard for me because I really love their palettes, but I don't think that they are a brand anymore. I went to look them up literally last night on the computer, and when I typed in BH Cosmetics, a website popped up for them, but when I clicked on it, it took me to the Makeup Revolution website because they bought BH Cosmetics. And then when I was looking on Makeup Revolution's website, I couldn't find any of the BH Cosmetics palettes. So I know they bought them, and I thought they said they weren't going to like get rid of the palettes and stuff, but I couldn't find them. So let me know down below if you have found BH and like where at, but I could not find them. So this is the Lost in Los Angeles palette. I love this palette. I think it's beautiful and stunning. However, I am not going to be reaching for these colors, unfortunately. Even though I enjoyed it the couple times I did use it, I'm going to go ahead and donate this. Same thing with the Avocado Toast. This whole palette is adorable. See, now I'm looking at it, I'm like, dang. Those are tones that I probably would wear. I think I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, I think this is beautiful. I think it's stunning. I love the branding of it. I love avocado toast and it's really cute. And I do think I would wear quite a few of these shades on my eyes, but because it is more on the colorful side and you can't seem to buy it anymore, not that I need to keep makeup based on you guys being able to like buy it and use it and me linking it for you, but I do understand where it could be frustrating if I use something in a video that is unavailable anymore and you guys can't get. So because I'm not using this and it is unavailable, I am going to go ahead and donate this, even though it is beautiful. I'm going to keep the Colourpop New Moon palette. I think it's beautiful. I used it in a recent video when I was trying it out, and I've actually used it on or off camera, a couple times since then. These are tones that I would reach for. Not all of them, obviously, but I do still enjoy this palette, and it's newer to me, so I want to keep it. The Hangin' in Hawaii palette is another really stunning palette from BH Cosmetics, and actually I'm going to keep this one because my mom bought this for me, and I just think that's special. I still remember when her and I went shopping with my sister, and I said I wanted this, and she was like, well, I'll buy it for you. And just for that, I don't know, that memory and the fact that these are pink tones and there is a lot of neutrals that I would reach for, I am going to keep this. And then we have the Smitten in Switzerland palette. Oh, this is one of my faves from BH Cosmetics. Ugh, I really like this. I did a 1 week 1 palette on it. I loved all the looks that I made. I'm just not reaching for it, you guys. It sits in my collection. It just sits there and collects dust, and it's not being used. And I feel guilty. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile, and I'm gonna come back to it. Then we have the Heather Austin and Adept palette. I kept this in my last declutter because it was expensive, and I said that it was like unique in my collection. I didn't have some of these shades, and I haven't reached for it one time since then. And I'm not going to reach for these really super intense shimmers. So I am going to go ahead and declutter this. I almost said delete. I'm going to declutter this. Same thing. I kept the Raw Beauty Christie and Pure palette, and I haven't reached for it since then. And also, since that last declutter a year ago, I feel like some things have came out about Raw Beauty Christie and the things she aligns herself with that I'm not totally on board with. I've unsubscribed to her. I don't really watch her anymore. I'm not going to go into details about it. If you want to look it up, feel free, but I'm just not loving that. So I don't really also want to support her very much. If you don't know this palette, there's one colorful side that I'm definitely not going to reach for, and there is a really pretty neutral side that I did get some use out of in the past, but I'm not using it, and I don't really want to support her at the current moment, so I'm going to go ahead and declare this. All right, then we have the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette. This is his all matte palette. I will admit that I don't love this palette. I thought I was going to. I really enjoy Patrick Ta's mattes, but the couple of times I've used this, I've been a little disappointed, specifically with this bottom row. I do like the top row, though. I'm not ready to let this one go yet. I am going to keep it, but it could be decluttered in the future. Then we have the Major Dimensions 2 Rose palette. I'm not into these really shimmery, intense foiled kind of shades on the top here anymore. However, I love this palette. I just can't get rid of it. Like, as you can see, the dips, the fact that the monogramming is like essentially gone. This is one of my favorites. It was a favorite a couple years ago, so again, I'm not reaching for it too much these days, but I just can't let it go. I do think I'm going to go ahead and declutter his first palette, though. It's pretty, it's nice, there's nothing wrong with it, but between the two palettes from him that I kept and then the other palettes in my collection, I feel like I could kind of encompass these tones. It's more so the formulation, but it's a good formulation. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Urban Decay Naked palette. I love this. I bought this a couple months ago when they released it, and it was my favorite palette from 2024. So I'm definitely not getting rid of this one. It's beautiful. Then we have the Charlotte Tilbury Starry Eyes to Mesmerize or Hypnotize. Starry Eyes to Hypnotize. This is one that my last declutter, I went back and rewatched it because I was like, do I really need to declutter again? Like, what were my thoughts on these palettes? And in that last declutter, I said that I wasn't reaching for this very much, but I wanted to keep it. But since then, I have rediscovered this and re-fallen in love with it. So I am definitely keeping it. It is beautiful. The formulation on this is just out of this world. So I'm definitely keeping this. Unfortunately, not one you can get anymore. It was like really old. She doesn't make it anymore, but man, I love it. All right, guys, I'm looking at this pile, and it's going to start getting harder. It's going to start getting harder. All right, ABH Modern Renaissance. What do I want to do with this? I feel like this is such a cult classic palette that has just been around forever, but looking at it, I feel no joy when I open it. Like, I would only keep this because it's a modern renaissance and because it's so well loved and it's so hyped and it's, you know, been around forever. But when I actually look at it and think about using it, I don't get excited. So yeah, this is actually easier than I thought. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Then we have this Sultry palette. I'm keeping this. I don't know if it really makes a whole lot of sense to keep it, but these are more of the tones that I want to reach for. The shimmers are a little bit intense for my liking, but yeah, I don't know. Something about this, when I open it, it still brings me joy. It makes me feel happy. So I'm going to keep this one. I'm also going to keep the Nouveau palette. It's a little bit more on the well, I guess it's not really that colorful. There's only a couple colors, especially that like purple, but I actually really do enjoy this palette. I don't use it very often, but I want to change that ? Because it is really stunning and beautiful. So yeah, there's something about this that I don't want to give up yet. Same thing with their Primrose palette. This is just stunning. I love this palette. Again, not one I reach for very often, but something about this, there's just no way. Like, there's no way I would get rid of this. I love this palette. Jackie Aina's the same way. Oh, this what used to be such a favorite of mine. A little bit more on the colorful side, probably not shades I'm honestly going to reach for, but there's just something about it, guys. I just can't. I know I'm trying to be ruthless and like honest with myself, but I just can't. And some of you guys are going to like understand that, you know, and some of you are going to be like, you're being weak, get rid of it. But I don't know. There's just something about it. Okay, the Norvina palette. Again, I think I'm going to keep this. I do like the ABH formula a lot, and there is a lot of tones in here that are more subdued, more toned down, that I will reach for. My hope in this declutter is that I will weed out the palettes that I'm not reaching for very often, and then I will just have a curated collection of all the palettes that I know and love that I know I would reach for anytime I want to do my look. They're not super colorful. They're not ones that have super intense shimmers that I'm not going to like and reach for. Does that make sense? I just want a more curated collection. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to weed out the ones that I'm not using a ton of or that I would not use in the future. This one is newer to me. I haven't shown it on my channel, but I've actually used it quite a few times off camera. The Buxom Forever Babe. I love the Buxom formulation. I'm definitely keeping this. This is stunning. I'll go ahead and grab my other Buxom palette while we're at it. This is their Straight Up Eye and Cheek palette. This is another favorite. I love these two brown shades. Definitely keeping this. All right, my keep pile is looking pretty big, guys. Ooh, okay. Then we have the Laura Lee Los Angeles Nudie number 2 palette. She's actually shutting down Laura Lee Los Angeles, which is kind of surprising, to be honest. But yeah, I like this palette. I like this palette. But these tones are tones that I have in a lot of other palettes. And when I reach for this palette, I mainly love the nudie shade and the cheeky shade, but those are shades that I feel like I could get in other palettes. So surprisingly, I wasn't planning on decluttering this one, but I actually think I'm going to. I think I could give this away and it would go to a home that would appreciate it and use it a lot more than I do. Although I did use it quite a bit while I owned it, but I think I'm ready to let this one go, guys. All right, it probably does not make sense to keep the Odin's Eye Soul Mane 2 palette because it's so colorful, but I know I'm going to be trying to get rid of other colorful palettes. So because of that, just in case, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this. And it's my only Odin's Eye palette, so I do enjoy owning something from the brand. I don't want to do this pile, you guys. The Pat McGrath motherships. I don't want to do it, okay? Because I don't reach for them. I really do not use these hardly ever, but they are so expensive that it seriously like makes me want to throw up thinking about donating them because they're just expensive. And I know I need to not have that mindset of like, I spent so much money on some of these, so that's why I need to keep them. That's not a good reason to keep something if I'm genuinely not using it, you know? And I genuinely don't use these. Oh, okay. We'll see what I can do. This is the Divine Rose 1 palette, I believe. See, I'm looking at this and it's stunning. This is going to go in the maybe pile. Oh, this is the Sunlit Seduction. Yeah, I'm keeping this. I spent my own money on this. Some of these were sent to me in friend mail, so I did not spend my money on this. And then one I bought on sale. This one, not on sale, spent full price. Makes me sick to think about it, so I'm going to keep it for that reason. I don't reach for it very often, but it is really pretty. I do actually want to keep this one. Then we have, I want to say this is Bronze Seduction, Midnight Sun, Bronze Seduction. See, here's the thing about Pat McGrath. These are the ones that I want to keep it for because they are special, her special shades. And they're stunning and beautiful. Like, look at that. Okay, I think I'm going to declutter this one. I think I am. I'm not reaching for it very often. These special shades, like these two are really, gosh, that is so pretty. I should not swatch. Don't swatch, Emily. I think for right now, I'm going to put this in the declutter pile, but I'm going to be honest, I might change my mind on it. These palettes are just something special. It makes me not want to get rid of them for that reason, you know? All right, then we have this one right here. Which one is this? Oh, this is Midnight Sun. So I guess the other one was Bronze Seduction. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one. These are tones that I actually really do love. Yeah, okay, I'm going to keep this one. And I think this is Subliminal. This is the one I actually bought myself on sale. I'm going to keep this too. Yeah, that was not a very good declutter of those, you guys, huh? I only got rid of one because the other one's in the maybe pile, and I don't know if I'm going to get rid of it, but we'll think about that later. All right, next up we have the Colourpop Twilight palette. This might not make sense to some of you guys, but I am going to keep this, even though this isn't a color story that I'm going to reach for very often, because they sent this to me in PR and I have the New Moon one and then this one, and I have a feeling that they will end up doing a Breaking Dawn collection and the other one, New Moon. Oh no, that is New Moon. Okay, I'm blanking on the fourth Twilight book. Breaking Dawn might be the fourth one, so the third one. Anyways, I have a feeling they're going to do collections for the other books, which would make sense. So I'm going to keep this for that reason to kind of compare to it. Not when I'm reaching for a ton and it's not a color story, I will reach for a ton, but I do still want to keep this one kind of mainly for that reason, but I do still like it. All right, then we have the Bare Necessities palette. I actually enjoy this one. I've used it quite a few times, as you can see, but I think I'm going to go ahead and clean this one up and donate it. This is a nice neutral palette that I think a lot of people would enjoy. And also, I've struggled a little bit with the mattes not fluffing away off my eyes. My eyes are really finicky, so I don't think a lot of other people would struggle with that. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clean this one up and donate it. I think someone else will get a lot more use out of it. Oh, the So Jaded palette. Gosh, that's so pretty. I don't think I can get rid of this one. I think I might put this in like a makeup box though, because it's a little bit older. And I don't know if I would actually use it on my eyes. Maybe I would. It looks fine. They don't look expired or anything. Like there's no weird mold growing or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I know this is more of a colorful palette, but I can't get rid of this one. I still like Kathleen Lights a lot, and this palette is just stunning. So yeah, I'm going to keep this. All right, Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. They don't make this anymore, which makes me want to keep it, but I don't really use it, so I probably don't need to keep it, you know? This is where it's getting hard. Let's compare it to Rose Quartz. I mean, that's really pretty too, though. Oh, okay. I think I'm going to keep both those. I know. Icy Nude, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I might try to sell this. I just did a 1 week one palette on it. I did not enjoy it. It bummed me out. It didn't work out well for me. And I feel like it's new enough and I've only used it a couple times that I could probably sell this and get some money out, get some money back, because this was expensive. I spent like $69 on this, which is a lot of money. So yeah, I think I'm going to try to sell this on Mercari or Poshmark. I think Mercari is what I have. The Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. Okay. I wanted this forever. I waited for it to come back in stock. I pre-ordered it. I waited for months for this palette. I think this is another one I might try to sell because I bought this with my own money and I was so hyped and so excited for it, and it just let me down. The mattes look darker on me than they show up in pan, and the shimmers are just those really, really intense shimmers that I am not going to reach for. So it's stunning and beautiful, but it bummed me out, it disappointed me, and I've literally only used this palette like 2 or 3 times. So I think I could sell it and get some money out of it. All right, one I'm definitely not getting rid of is the Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. This was in collaboration with Mel Thompson. This is just stunning and beautiful. And Mel is unfortunately no longer with us, so I want to keep this for that reason. And also, it's just a beautiful palette. She did an amazing job on this palette. I love it. I'm also going to go ahead and keep the Enduring Love palette from Sydney Grace. Their formula is just perfection. And when I do reach for this, I always love my look. So I'm going to keep this too. Man, I'm not being really ruthless, am I? Gosh. Oh, you guys. Okay, the Blend Bunny all done up. I know I just said I'm not being ruthless, but I am going to keep this too. These are the shimmers I don't really want in my life at this moment. They're super intense, but these mattes are stunning, and I love to use this palette for an all matte look, so I'm going to keep this. One I am going to get rid of, though, is this Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey. I just don't ever reach for this, and I feel like if I want to reach for a Pat McGrath palette, I would want to reach for a Mothership. See, I shouldn't open it up. Because now I'm opening it up and I'm seeing how pretty it is. But it's like, I don't need it. I don't need it, Emily. You don't need it. You don't use it. It's colorful. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to get rid of this, guys. Probably doesn't make sense for me to keep this Gimme Glow Pastel Dreams palette, but I'm going to keep it. It's just too pretty. I don't know. There's just something about it. I can't get rid of it. All right, the Pat McGrath Bridgerton collab. This was the first palette that she released in their collab. I still really love this palette. I'm going to keep this for sure. The second one, though, I'm like, should I keep this one? Let's take a look. This was the second collab. Okay, I think I'm good to go ahead and declutter this one. I didn't reach for it as much as the first one anyways. This shade is really stunning and I would love to keep it for that, but it's really intense. I'm not going to use it very often. And out of the two, I would definitely reach for the first one more. I might also see if I could sell this, clean it up a little bit, because I really only used it like a handful of times. I'm surprised. I wasn't planning on decluttering this one, but looking at it now, I think I can. I'm also going to declutter the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. I think this is pretty, and these are the tones I'm reaching for, but I've talked about this palette in the past that I just don't love the undertones of it. All the shimmers are ones I wouldn't really use. Like, these are too deep, that's too golden, that's super light. So it just kind of leaves these two, and they look really similar on the eyes. So for neutral, like matte shades, I have those in other palettes. And while this Laura and Sam shade is really pretty, I'm just not going to reach for the palette just for those two when they look the same on the eyes anyways. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and donate this one. Another one I'm going to donate is this Smoke and Roses palette. This one was sent to me in PR. And while I think it's beautiful and stunning, I don't need it. And I don't see myself reaching for it very often. That's why I haven't ever tried it. Because I feel like I would try it maybe for a video or two and then never use it again. And I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and donate this one. All right, we just have this basket here and then this stack of Natasha Denona palettes. It's still a lot of palettes, you guys. I know. It's getting harder though. Like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie. All right, the Natasha Denona Biba palette. This is brand spanking new to me. I should have already have my like try on video of this up before this declutter video, so I'll have that linked if you want to check it out. I think I said that in the intro already. Man, I'm really pushing that video. Go watch that video, guys, please. But yeah, this is brand new to me. I've only used it that 1/2 times because I made 2 different eye looks with it in that video, so I'm gonna keep this. Actually, I'm gonna be like transparent. I'm probably gonna keep all of these. I love Natasha Denona. She's my favorite brand. I just can't see myself wanting to part with really any of these. So we have the Glam Face palette. This is really stunning and beautiful. I love the shades on this. These are a little bit more intense, but I do like them, and I actually actually used this blush back a while ago for the first time in forever, and it was really pretty. I didn't like it at first when I first got this palette, but I do now, so I'm going to keep this. The I Need a Warm palette is also really new to me. I did a 1 week 1 palette on this, and I enjoyed my looks. Is it my favorite Natasha Denona palette ever? No, but I do like it and I want to keep it. I do prefer the I Need a Nude over the I Need a Warm palette. I just think that these tones are a little bit up my alley and I really like the looks I make when I use this palette, so I'm going to keep this. The Glam palette, I have not reached for in a very, very long time. Like truly, very long time. But I look at this and it still brings me joy and it still makes me happy and I still want to reach for it. I just need to actually do it. So I'm going to keep this. The Love palette. This is really colorful. I don't know if I would actually reach for these tones anymore, you guys. And I kept that Hanging in Hawaii palette, which is really pink tone. I don't want to get rid of it because it's Natasha Denona, you know? Like, I like having a collection of her palettes. I like that I can compare them, but I don't compare them in videos for you guys. I feel like if this was a drugstore brand, I would declutter this just because, like, these are tones I'm not going to use a lot. But because it's Natasha Denona and I've used it so many times in the past, like, you can see I've got dips in a bunch of these like shades, especially like these two. Like, I used the heck out of this palette a couple years ago, which makes me want to keep it for that reason. But like, gosh, I think I'm going to put this in the donate pile. I don't need it. I don't see myself reaching for it very often, but I could change my mind and I could take it out, just to let you know. But for right now, I think I am going to donate this one. Well, same thing with the Retro Glam. I actually really don't care for this palette, but because it's Natasha Denona, I want to keep it, you know? I think I'm going to declutter this one too, guys. Man, that stinks. Her palettes are expensive. But I'm just not reaching for it. And when I reach for it, I don't love it. Same thing. I'm going to put this in the donate pile. I could think on it though, and I could change my mind. But for right now, I'm going to donate it. And then the Sunrise palette is another like super colorful one, which doesn't probably make sense that I'm going to keep this one, but I am. There's just something about this that I really do love. So I'm going to keep this one. All these right here are her mini palettes. Let's see how many of these. So this is the mini gold. I love this. I actually think it's really unique. I love the greens. I'm going to keep this. The mini I Need a Dream palette, I think is what it's called. This is stunning. Beautiful. I love this palette. Definitely keeping. The I Need a Nude palette. I'm actually going to go ahead and retire this one because I already bought a new one. It came in a bundle that I bought off Black Friday. But this one I'm keeping because it's just special to me. I used it on my honeymoon. I've had it forever. I've got 2 pans in it. I'm going to put it in like a makeup box, like keepsake box, you know? So I guess I'm decluttering this one, but I also have another one to replace it. So like I'm still keeping it, right? This is the mini Biba palette. This is new to me, like brand new to me. I've only used it a couple times off of camera and I am enjoying it a lot. So I'm going to keep this. Ooh, okay. This is the mini Lila palette. I kept this last time around for these 2 shades right here because I love them. They're stunning and beautiful. You can tell I have like huge dips in them, especially the shimmer. But like, do I need this? I'm keeping it. I'm sorry. I do actually think I'm going to go ahead and declutter the mini Glam palette. Yeah, I just don't use this very often and I'd rather reach for the Glam palette. So I am going to declutter this one. Mini Retro. I'm not using it, guys, but I used to love it. I can't. I'm keeping this. I'm also going to keep the mini Zendo palette. I didn't like the big Zendo palette. I already decluttered that at some point forever ago. But yeah, now I'm looking at it. I'm like, should I declutter this? Because really when I use it, I only use this shade, and this shade. The silver confuses me and I never reach for that one. Okay, I actually think I'm going to declutter this one. Wow, I decluttered possibly 4 Natasha Denona palettes. That's shocking. I did not think I was going to do that. I thought I was going to keep them all. You guys should be proud of me. I'm proud of me. I'm kind of scared. I might change my mind on them. I'll let you know if I do. I think this eyeshadow palette declutter is teaching me that I really need to be more ruthless when I'm buying makeup. Because there's so many of these that are newer-ish, or like I have to be realistic when I'm buying makeup about what I'm actually going to use. You know what I mean? I think I just need to change my shopping habits in the future. Next up, we have the Essence Dancing Green palette. This is really pretty and actually a really nice palette for the drugstore. Good quality and all that, but I'm not reaching for it. I'm not going to use these tones, so I'm going to declutter this. This little baby Viseart palette. I like it. I'm keeping it. The ABH Norvina palette, oh man, my sister got me this for my birthday a couple years ago, which I was really happy for. I think it's beautiful and stunning, but it's just not colors I'm going to reach for, unfortunately. Oh yeah, it's too colorful for me. I think I'm going to donate this. You'd have to pry this one out of my hands, the Half Caked Your Eyes Only. Oh my gosh, this is such a stunning palette. It is beautiful. It gives you the most perfect everyday tones. I feel like this brand and this eyeshadow palette is underrated. Love this, keeping it. Ooh, the Viseart Cashmere palette. I was really bummed by this. I did not love the quality at all when I used it. But also that was back when I loved super intense shimmers and I don't love super intense shimmers now. So I'm thinking like if I tried this again, would I like it more? Oh, okay, this one's hard, but I actually think I'm going to declutter this. I think I'm going to donate it. I think it's pretty. I think I would really like these shimmers, but some of them I wouldn't really reach for very often. And these more neutral tone shimmers I have in other palettes, like for example, this one right here that I just kept. So yeah, I think I am going to declutter this. The Moira Beauty Celestial Love palette. This is one that's really pretty. I'm gonna keep this. It's a little bit newer to me. I've only used it a couple times. It is more colorful, but these are pinky-ish tones that I think I would still reach for. So I'm gonna keep this. Plus I like the shimmers. They're not too intense. I'm also gonna keep the Huda Beauty Nude Light. This has been in my collection forever. It's beautiful. It's a little bit more on the colorful side, but it's more subdued and toned down. I feel comfortable still wearing this on my eyes. I'm gonna keep it. Then we have two of the CoverGirl Clean Color palettes. This one is Dreamy Pink. I'm gonna keep this one. I love this palette, but this one's Mellow Mauve. I picked this one up after the Dreamy Pink, and while I think it's really beautiful and stunning, I'm not gonna reach for these purpley tones, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this. But this eyeshadow formulation is amazing. If you find a color store you like, I highly recommend them. And we have a bunch of Colourpop quads right here, and I'm like, I haven't touched them, and like I cannot remember the last time I used any of them. But I'm like, I don't know what to do. Okay, I think I'm going to declutter this one. This is the Dare to Bear. It's just an all matte one. It's really pretty and nice. I like the tones, but Colourpop mattes is not my favorite formulation, and I have other like neutral mattes in my collection. I don't need this one. This one I bought and just never even used, which is such a bummer because it's stunning, but I bought it like a couple years ago at this point when I was wearing more colorful makeup, and I'm not anymore. So I'm going to declutter this. Yeah, I think I'm going to declutter this one too. It's just too purpley, too bright. I don't think I would wear it. It's stunning though. This is a more pink tone one. I think I'm going to declutter this one too, only because if I want a more pink tone, like really easy, simple quad, I think I'd reach for this one over it. So I'm going to get rid of that one too. And by get rid of, I mean I'm going to donate it. All right, this one being the cream soda one. This is a really good dupe for the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. If they still sell this, which I think they do, and you had your eye on the I Need a Nude, I recommend this one. It's very, very similar to it, but I also still love the I Need a Nude. So it's up to you and your price point, but I'm going to declutter this one because I have the I Need a Nude. Ooh, this one's so pretty, but it's just really, really bright pink. I remember the couple times I used it, it was stunning. But that was a couple years ago when I liked colorful makeup, and I just don't wear colorful makeup anymore. Be realistic, Emily. Be realistic with yourself. You're not going to use it. Declutter it. All right. I'm going to declutter this blue one. It's beautiful, but I'm not going to use it. And actually, I am going to keep this orange one. I do really like this one. Ooh, we're almost done. Okay, then I have two here from M Cosmetics. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one, which is their Divine Skies eyeshadow palette in Venetian Rose. I just don't really reach for this one. I don't remember loving it too. Oh, sorry, that's like not even on camera. I don't remember like loving it too much. Okay, I don't know about that one, but I am gonna keep this one. They're Divine Skies. This is in Magic Hour. This is like one of my favorite palettes. Again, I haven't reached for it forever, but I used to love it, and the quality on this is top-notch stunning. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this one, and I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and declutter the Venetian Rose. All right, I don't remember what this is called, but this is a really colorful Pat McGrath palette. This was sent to me in friend mail a while ago from a friend that wasn't using it. I actually used this for the Taylor Swift Eras tour. I was the Reputation era, and I went as like snake theme, and that is the green eyeshadow that I used, but I'm going to declutter it because I don't think I will ever use, like that's the only time I've ever used this palette. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this one, the Venus and Fleurs Luxe Quad, the Voyeuristic Vixen. Actually, should I declutter this? Actually, I think I am going to go ahead and declutter this. This got patchy on me. These are super like just a basic champagne and basic bronze, and this is not one I would use very often. I'm going to surprise myself and declutter this. And I'm also going to declutter the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette. This is stunning and beautiful and stunning and beautiful, but I keep it through every declutter and then I never reach for it. Also, they're just very intense. They're not really the shimmers I'm going for these days. So I'm also going to declutter this one. Okay, the two that I was on the fence about right here, the BH Smitten in Switzerland, I am going to go ahead and clean this up and donate it. I just don't think that I will use it. And the colors that I will use out of this, like the greens and the silvers, I have other green and silvers that I can reach for instead. And then also the Pat McGrath Labs, I think this is Divine Rose 1. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this as well because the special shades are why I would be keeping them. And I have a gold already, and then this really pretty like super sparkly one. Like I have other special shades and other Pat McGrath motherships that I can use instead. Does that make sense? So I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. And then I went ahead and took a break, ate some lunch, did some laundry, cleaned a little bit, and came back and reassessed my keep pile. And I went ahead and picked a couple more that I'm going to declutter. The What's Up Beauty Monsoon palette, Desert Monsoon palette. I am really thankful that they send me their palettes in PR and just their products in general. I use their brushes all the time. I have blushes and bronzers. I'm super excited to try out their nail polishes. Are bomb, the couple I've tried, but I would only be keeping this palette to try in a video, and I really don't want to set that precedent. I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste makeup like that and try it just for a video when I could donate this unused instead. You know what I mean? So that full face of What's Up Beauty that I want to film coming up, it's just gonna not have an eyeshadow palette in it, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have one. The Odin's Eye Soul Mane 2, really the only reason I was wanting to keep this was for the oranges, and I'd rather keep the little orange Colourpop quad. I like those tones better on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one. The Moira Beauty Celestial Love, this might surprise some of you guys because it's newer to me, and I actually really like this palette. Like, I genuinely do. However, I have other pink tones in my collection I can use instead, and I would rather donate this while it is still newer and only been used a couple times. I could keep it and use it a couple more times, but I just don't know if I would actually use it, and I'd rather it go to a better home. You know what I mean? I just would rather it go to a better home. And then the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. This might surprise some of you guys, and it actually kind of surprised me a little bit, but I was really looking at it and breaking down the tones and the eyeshadow formulations, and from what I remember the last time I used them, most of these I would not like. I think I'm going to miss that Energized shade because it's such a pretty shade, but everything else in this palette was just kind of meh. Like, it was just okay. It's pretty, I like it, but I just, say it with me, can't see myself using it. So I am going to go ahead and declutter all of those as well. That brings my total keep to 45, which I still think is too much, if I'm being honest. I still would like to eventually get that down smaller. 45 eyeshadow palettes is just still a lot of palettes, you know what I mean? However, my declutter pile / giveaway pile, sell pile, whatever, is also at 45. So I cut my collection down in half, so I'll take it. But the fact that I had 90 palettes to begin with is just ridiculous, like truly ridiculous in my eyes. Like I said, I used to just want all the makeup, and I'm just not... I don't have that mindset anymore. So I hope this was a fun declutter for you guys. Let me know down below which one surprised you the most that I ended up decluttering, because I feel like a lot of these are pretty and I like them, and I thought about keeping them, but I just don't need them. You know what I mean? So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome and I love you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.